Cycling and me. Cycling is something that I've never felt as passionate about before as anything ever else in my life. But it's only something which has been in my life for a few years now. However, of course, being a boy, I've ridden bikes throughout my whole life. It wasn't until I got into the sport itself did cycling and riding a bike take on a whole new meaning for me. In the summer of 2007, the Tour de France had the opening two stages in the southeast of England, one of which was in London, but the other went through Kent. I was intending to see the race, but it was over so quickly I was just left thinking, wow, all that hype for nothing. But it was later on in the summer holidays off school, where I was bored at home watching TV, nothing of my interest on, so I started flicking through the sports channels and saw that the Tour was on, so I thought I might as well watch it, seeing as I saw the start of it. And the coincidence of it was that it was the best stage in the race that critics were saying, and I enjoyed watching it, albeit not having a huge understanding of what was going on. I then started to watch other stages daily, and by the end of it, it was a whole new sport to me that I enjoyed. For the rest of the season, I would continually check Eurosport for any cycling events that were going on, and I was also going on websites to find out what was happening and gathering more and more knowledge and information. And as time grew, I had a bigger and better understanding of what was going on. I then realised that cycling is a sport you can only enjoy if you have an understanding of what is happening. And so over time, I started to enjoy it more and more, and midway through 2008, I was hooked. But living in the country I currently do, I found it hard to embrace the sport and very difficult to get involved and keep it up. Cycling in the UK. Cycling is something that the regular public frequently participates in, but the activity rather than follow the sport as a whole. But following the recent success of British athletes in cycling have brought it to public attention, especially after the 2008 Beijing Olympics and the 2009 Tour de France. Chris Hoy, Victoria Pendleton, Mark Cavendish and Bradley Wiggins have all become household names. But even with all this success and work with other companies and charities to try and bring the sport to the forefront of Britain, it is going unrewarded. People still only see the sport as activity. It is claimed that 76% of the British population is bicycle, and 23 of that use it regularly, with 41 using it at least once in a year. This shows people enjoy the activity, but the sport is mainly stereotyped and boring, and for me personally it was hard to get into. But the bigger understanding of the sport you have, the more and more excitable and enjoyable it becomes. This is the barrier that is stopping the country enjoy one of its greatest current sports. Britain's cyclists on the road and track are currently some of the best in the world, but it can't get to the public eye as it is dominated by other big sports like football, cricket and rugby. And since the sport started in 1868, Britain's had a good history in sport, and not many people know that the first two official bicycle races were won by Britain. Cycling in Belgium. Belgium is highly regarded as the best cycling country in the world, the one with the most races and longest and biggest history. It is the country's biggest and in some people's eyes only sport. Every Belgian is completely in love with the sport, and after such a big history of so many brilliant cyclists dominating over the last 10 years, the power of the sport is not with the Belgians. With a lack of big names and big wins, other countries are taking the fight to them. Belgium has some talented cyclists around at the moment, but not as many as others in its history. But the big name that will forever be regarded with Belgium in cycling is Eddy Merckx, the best cyclist in the history of sport and probably will be for a long time. Since the end of his career in 1978, no cyclist has yet even been able to hold a candle to his name. Nowadays, the sport is divided into many different disciplines, and very few people have been able to combine more than one. And this is the thing that made him so great, was the fact that he was a brilliant all-round rider. Cycling and the USA. America, just like the UK, doesn't have a massive and successful history in the sport, but it's not without its great names. But it's only really its recent history that has the biggest and best names. A large number of the recent Americans are most famous for the Grand Tour capabilities. There have been Americans throughout the past that have not had the attention and talent that the recent athletes do. It all went big for American cycling in the 1983 Road World Championships, where then the young and inexperienced Greg LeMond won gold, when he was then touted to do great things, and he didn't disappoint, winning the Tour de France 3 times and winning the World Championships a further twice. Then it went flat for America again, until just like LeMond, a young, fresh-faced, inexperienced rider won the World Championships at an early stage of his career in 1993, and went on to achieve something not even Eddy Merckx can do, and probably something no one will ever achieve again. His name? Lance Armstrong, the most famous name in cycling. He went on to win the Tour de France 7 times in a row between 1999 and 2005, after coming back from being diagnosed with cancer in 1996. The comparison of the 3 countries. Belgium is a country that is so cycle friendly and everyone is a fan of the biggest and best sport. I have always wanted to experience the culture for myself and always wanted to see the races firsthand. And it is not only me that thinks this. Many cyclists from this country, heavily passionate about the sport, have always wanted to go to Belgium just because it's the one big cycling country. It is its national sport. Other big cycling countries like Spain and Italy are heavily involved in cycling, but it's not as big with the population as it is in Belgium. The fans are passionate about it and love to watch us race as well as to race themselves. Compared to the other two countries, America and the UK, they can't compete. The fans just don't hold the sport in high enough regard and are not passionate enough about it. A good example being a race in Belgium last year, which was in brilliant sunshine, and the sides of the road were packed with about fans 4 or 5 rows deep. The same race a year later, and it's horrendously windy, cold and raining, yet the same amount of fans turn up to witness a good race. Compare this to a stage of the Tour of Britain last year. One day it was nice and sunny, the next cold and raining, and it went from a thin lining on the roads to none whatsoever, only a handful of people at the finish line. And it would be the exact same in America. It is not as held in a high regard with the public and the fans, and for me personally it's heartbreaking. I'll be one of the people out in the rain to watch it, but sadly there is never any local race to me. The only one is the one stage a year of the Tour of Britain, which is in London. Another factor that makes the Belgians so passionate about the sport is the massive rivalry between the Flandrians and the Wallonians. Either part of the country has always wanted to outdo and better the other, and for me, some of a big understanding in sport, rivalries add so much more to the excitement to anything and everything. Something that is not even a hint of here in Britain. Now the addition of a single British team in the top ranks, it kills off any chance of one. However, rivalry is also rife in America, with 2 teams fighting for the love of the public. And now 2 more teams have stepped up to the top level, making it a 4-way fight for the attention of the American public, fans and media. Obviously, America has a bigger population than the UK and Belgium, but compared to the fans' numbers and passion, it would come second in this behind the Belgians, which I personally would love to go to Belgium for a period of time and experience it all for myself. People dream of travelling the world or winning the lottery, but right now my dream is to be part of a culture which holds cycling close to its hearts, and even though the UK is trying valiantly to step it up, it would take a long time and a lot of hard work to be at Belgian standards. Thank you for watching and listening to my presentation.